ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सागारगुणान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगललिता श्रीविशाखामितं च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So in chapter number 1 of Bhagavad Gita, we saw the 5 reasons why Arjuna did not want to fight. So the 5 reasons which are given in chapter 1, and then the last was given in 2.6, that is chapter 2. So we saw the first reason was compassion to relatives, friends and relatives, and second was no enjoyment. That even if he won, there would be no enjoyment for him to show. And then third was the fear of sinful reactions. And the fourth was the destruction of family traditions. And the last was indecision. So the first reason was given by Arjuna in verse number 28 to 30 in chapter 1. And the answer is given by Krishna in this second chapter from verse number 11 to 30. So we are going to the answer of the first verse, that where the compassion should be applied and where it should not be applied. And the difference between the body and the soul is being described here very vividly by Krishna to Arjuna and for all of us to understand. So we saw Krishna started by telling Arjuna that you are talking like a pandita or a very educated person, but you don't know the difference between body and soul. And then he says that do not lament unnecessarily. So you should not lament for something which is anyways going to uh, get destroyed. So then he says that देहि नोस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं यदा तथा देहान्तरस्याप्तिर् धीरस्तत्र मुह्यति. So the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to old to youth to old age. The soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So this is what he was told by Krishna, told this to Arjuna, and then he's further told that even if we are in this body, we sometimes face heat, cold, and all the things. So we should tolerate these temporary realities in our life, and these are because of a sense perception. And this, if we tolerate, the next verse Krishna says it will be eligible for liberation. That is verse number 15. And this is not his opinion. All the seers of truth have also declared this. And then further from verse number 17, 18, we saw how he says that this material body is perishable, whereas the soul is not destructible. So we saw the change, the difference between the material body and the soul. So we did verse number 18. So let's start with verse number 19. So this verse speaks that the soul doesn't kill or get killed. So both the ways, it is not, nobody can kill the soul. And let's check this verse. Yainam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhau tau na vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate. Yeah, anyone who enam this veti knows, hantaram the killer, yeah, anyone who cha also enam this manyate things, hatam, killed, ubhau, both, tau, they, na, never, vijanita, are in knowledge, na, never, ayam, this, hanti, kills, na, nor, hanyate, is killed. Translation. Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks it's slain is in knowledge, for the self slays, nor not or nor is slain. So the soul cannot be killed and nobody can kill the soul. So this is the meaning. Purport. When an embodied living entity is hurt by fatal weapons, it is to be known that living entity within the body is not killed. The spirit soul is so small that it is impossible to kill him by any material weapons, as will be evident from the subsequent verses. Nor is the living entity killable because of his spiritual constitution. So, first of all, the size of spirit soul is so small that nobody can kill it. It is the tip of the hair, 1/10,000 part of the tip of the hair. So, it is so small that it is impossible to kill. And second is because of its spiritual content, it is not material, so it cannot be killed. So material things in this world, however small or however big it may be, it will be destroyed within the course of time. A big elephant is also be killed, and small ant or small than that also it will be killed. So this material body is perishable, and therefore we should use this material body for spiritual causes only. Otherwise, it will cause us lamentation and pain. And whatever is needed for spiritual well-being, we should be ready to exude it. What is killed or is supposed to be killed is only in the body only. This, however, does not encourage at all encourage killing of the body. So, what is killed is body. So that doesn't mean that we should kill unnecessary. The Vedic injunction is Ma Himsyat Sarva Bhutani, Bhagavad 9.4. Never commit violence to anyone. Nor does understanding that the living entity is not killed encourage animal slaughter. Killing the body of anyone without authority is abominable and is punishable by the law of state as well as by the law of the Lord. Arjuna, however, is being engaged in killing for the principle of religion and not whimsically. So the principle that the soul is not killable or nobody can kill the soul does not encourage animal slaughterhouse, as which is rampant in today's day and age. Because even the soul is not killable, the person has given the body for a certain period of time. The animals which are there maybe in the body of a duck or a goat or whatever chicken or whatever it may be. So there is a certain period of time for which that body is given. And it's calculated number of breaths which they have, any living entity. So in that breath, he has to consume some of the karma which is there in the previous lives, which he has done. So the karma is accrued only in human form of life. Other forms of life do not accrue any karma. They just exhaust their karma, maybe pious or maybe bad ones, but they just exhaust. But they do not create any new karma. So even the demigods, even in the naraka, even the other animals and everybody, they just exhaust their karma. They don't create fresh karmas. So the karma is only created in these earthly planets, and that also by human beings only. So only limited living entities are able to develop this karma, or if we see the whole world, so this human form of life is very rare. After 84 lakh species of life, we get this human form of life. So in this one species of human life, so much karma is being accumulated that it takes other lakhs and lakhs of lives to consume that karma. So how much karma can we generate in this lifetime? We cannot even estimate this. And second is how much karma can we exhaust in this lifetime also is very less actually. So it is said that we have a bag full of karma, Like there are, the rye or this spices. So if the rye is so small, if we understand this, so the whole bag of karma of rye is there in our background, and we just take a handful of it, and that also we are not able to exhaust, but we create so much new. So it's very much we should understand this, that we should not commit any violence unnecessarily, because it will create us so much fresh karma to us that it will take lives and lives for us to exhaust. And second, if somebody is killed unnecessarily, then he or she does not get a next body before the time period given to that body. And therefore, if suppose the human beings are killed before time, they commit suicide, they are killed in accident, or somebody kills them, or something happens before time. So the next body is predestined at a particular point of time, and before they get the next body, they will have to live as a ghost. They will not get the ghost. Doesn't mean that very abnormal or something, but it doesn't have a gross body. They live in a subtle body, mind, intelligence, and ego, and therefore they have to suffer again. And therefore, it is recommended that we should never ever kill anybody, and especially not animals. And if innocent animals are killed, then there are also catastrophes in the material world also. We have so many cyclones, and so many times the rainfalls are irregular. And all these natural disturbances are caused because of this one reason, why when these animals are being slaughtered unnecessarily. So the way we make them suffer, we also suffer. Like if we see the local trains now, the way we are all packed, the same way the animals are packed in the pigeons before they are killed. So we are suffering the same type of karma daily in the trains and everywhere. And same type, people are being killed in accidents. Like we kill animals in different ways. So people are killed in accidents in different ways. Sometimes they are burned brutally, and there are so many brutal things that are happening with human beings. So this is a natural consequence of killing so many innocent people, and therefore we should never indulge in all things, even though the soul cannot be killed, and it is not killable by anything. But still, it doesn't encourage animal slaughterhouse. Let's see verse number 20. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूय अजो नित्यशाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. Na, never, jayate, takes birth, mriyate, dies, va, either, kadachit, at any time, past, present, or future, na, never, I am this, bhutva, having come into being, bhavita, will come to be, va, or, na, not, bhuya, or is again coming to be, aja, unborn, nitya, eternal, sashvata, permanent, I am this, purana, the oldest, na, never, hanyate, is killed, hanyamane, being killed, sharire, the body. Translation: for the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will never come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. So this is very difficult for us to understand, this translation and purport, because what we see is in this material world that somebody comes to being born, we celebrate their birthday at certain point of time, they grow at certain point of time, and then they leave this world at certain point of time. But here, the soul neither takes birth nor at any time. So the soul does not come into existence as we come into existence, no, and nor does the soul will in time go. So once the soul is there, it's always there. And when it was born, how it was born, how much time it is not known. It's time immemorial. Because the time factor is not present in the spiritual world, it's only present in this material world. And because the time factor is not present in the spiritual world, everything is permanent. Everything remains as it is. Suppose if somebody is 16 years old, he will remain 16 years old eternally. He will never age beyond 16. So in spiritual world, everybody is there permanently, and therefore there is no birth nor death at any point of time. And nobody comes into being, nobody will come into being in the future also, and therefore the unborn, eternal, and ever existing and preeminent, they are before this material, they are there, and after also will be there. Purport, quantitatively, the small atomic fragmental part of Supreme Spirit is one with the Supreme. He undergoes no changes like the body. So if you see, the size is very small, very, very small, but still it doesn't go any changes like the body goes to changes. And therefore, consciously, it is one with the Supreme. Sometimes the soul is called the steady or kutastha. The body is subject to 6 kinds of transformation. It takes its birth from the womb of of the mother's body, remains for some time, grows, produces some effects, gradually dwindles, and at last vanishes into oblivion. The soul, however, does not go through such changes. The soul is not born, but because it takes on a material body, the body takes its birth. The soul does not take birth there, and the soul does not die. Anything which has birth also has death. And because the soul has no birth, he therefore has no past, present, or future. He is eternal, ever existing, and primeval. So the same thing is being discussed here, how the soul is not born and doesn't take to material body. So if we see, there's a very contradiction in this thing, that the soul, which we cannot see, remains constant. Whereas this material body, which is perishable, it is growing, and we think that there is life in this body. But it's exactly opposite, that the spirit soul is living, and because it is living, it gives the body its strength, it gives the body its life. And as soon as the spirit soul goes away, the body will not be there. So the thing is, if we want to get liberated from this material world, we should be gradually detached from this material body. If we remain attached to this material body, we will never be liberated. And this cannot happen artificially. We need to practice our spiritual practices daily. And by gradually, if we practice our spiritual things daily by daily, gradually our body will get spiritualized, our thoughts, our action, everything will get spiritualized, and gradually we will understand that we are not this material body but spiritual soul. So it's a long journey. It will not happen in few days. It will take years and decades for us to understand these things. So gradually, what we can do now is, at first of all, knowledge level, we should take all the knowledge which is necessary. And then on the practical level, there is Nectar of Instruction book, there is Nectar of Devotion book. So there are so many principles written in these books, which we gradually need to follow in our life. Utsaha, Nischay, Dharya, that we should practice our devotional practices daily with lot of enthusiasm. And we should determine that at last we'll be going back to Godhead. And then we should have patience. It's not a day's job that after doing my practices, I'm not getting results. No, it will take some days, months, and years. And like this, there are so many principles that we should not associate with people who are not devotees. That is asatsanga tyag yahi Vaishnava achar. Though sang, if it's asat, it is not linking us to sat, that is God. We should be not having that sat, the sangha. So like this, there are so many principles which are given in Nectar of Instruction, and then in Nectar of Devotion also, there are 64 limbs of devotional service. So out of that, there are 5 potent limbs which we need to practice daily. So as we grow, our spiritual practices should grow and it should have in depth. Like when we start the spiritual practices, now we just say chant one round, whether in day or night or whenever you have time while walking, you chant. But as you gradually grow, we said not from 1 to go to 4, from 4 go to 16. And in 16 also, not in the night. If you chant the Brahma Muhurta is good. And the Brahma Muhurta also not by walking. If you just sit and concentrate and chant is more better. And in that also, if we chant for the pleasure of Radha and Krishna, Shishimati Radha and Krishna, it is better. And then also we say that further advancement is when we come here, our goal is going back to Godhead. But if we advance, our goal is to have Krishna Prem. And if Krishna wants us to go back to Godhead, then we'll go back to Godhead. And if Krishna does not want us to go back to Godhead, then we'll stay here. So whatever Krishna decides for us, we accept. What we want is Maro bhi rakho bhi jecha tumhara. Whatever you keep, that is your desire. My desire is to please you. So this is how gradually, step by step, one evolves in spiritual practices. So gradually, internally, one develops spiritual practices. And this is the way when one understands that he is not this body, but spirit, soul. Under the impression of the body, we seek the history of birth, etc. of the soul. The soul does not at any time become old as the body does. The so-called old man therefore feels himself to be as the same spirit as in the childhood or youth. Therefore, if we see now, even the body gets old, the desires do not go. The desires are still young. Still, the old people will like to enjoy the way young people are because the desires are coming from the soul and they're reflected through the body. It's like there is a room. If we see, we are standing on the road and you can see there's a building next to us. And on the 10th floor, if we see there's some light coming from the window. So actually the light is not coming from the window. The light is coming from the bulb or the tube light. But it is being reflected to the window or we can see it through the window. Like this, the desires are coming from the soul, but it gets rooted to the body. And therefore, because originally we desired to enjoy separately from the Lord told that, okay, in this spiritual world, you cannot enjoy because I am the boss. So let me take to the material world. There you can become a boss. But because so many people have the same desire, everybody want to become a boss. And in any company or any place, we know that not anybody cannot become a boss. There'll be only one boss. Others will be subordinates. So then he created false ego. So because of this false ego, what happens is everybody thinks he's a boss. So one may not be a boss of a company, but he'll be the boss of that table. And this table, everything should happen with my desire. This pen, how it is kept, it is should be within my desire. So this false ego is so strong that it takes so much time and energy to come oneself to the real ego. So real ego is that we are servants of Krishna. And this is the place where we should come in due course of time. The changes of the body do not affect the soul. The soul does not deteriorate like a tree, nor anything material. The soul has no byproduct either. So this soul does not deteriorate like a tree or anything material. So anything material, it also grows and after some time it deteriorates. But the soul never grows and therefore never deteriorates. And also the soul has never no byproduct. So whatever living entities are there in material world, they are always fixed in number. They never change. So when we see that some species are growing, like there's a explosion in human population, or the ants are growing, or some are growing, and some are being vanished, like the tigers and so many species are now they're not much seen now. They're like non-existent. So you must understand the living entity numbers are same, but the bodies are being transformed. So at this point of time, because of the karmic reaction of so many people, many have the same type of body, or many get the similar type of body. And because of that same karma, many are destroyed simultaneously. Like there is an earthquake. So many people with a similar karma come together and they are killed. Like there are wars, and so many people with a similar karma come and they are killed. So like this, it happens, and therefore we see that this soul has no byproduct. The byproducts of the body, namely children, are also different individual souls. So we think that these children are ours, but actually they are different spirit souls, and therefore, because of some of our connection, because of some of the karmic connection we have, they have come to us. And otherwise, there is no means that they will come to us. And therefore, we should not be overly attached to them either. The byproducts of the body, namely children, are also different in souls, and owing to the body, they appear as children of a particular man. The body develops because of the soul's presence, but the soul has neither offshoots nor change. Therefore, the soul is free from the 6 changes of the body. So, in the Katha Upanishad 1 to 18, we also find a similar passage which reads, Na jayate mirete va vipaschin, nayam kutaschin na babuva kaschit, ajo nitya sashvato ayam purano, na hanyate hanyamane sharire. The meaning and the purpose of this was the same as in the Bhagavad Gita, but here in this verse, there is one special word, vipaschit, which means learned or with knowledge. The soul is full of knowledge or full always with consciousness. Therefore, the consciousness is a symptom of the soul. Even if one does not find the soul within the heart where it is situated, one can still understand the presence of soul simply by the presence of consciousness. Sometimes we do not find the sun in the sky owing to the clouds or for some other reason, but the light of the sun is always there, and we are convinced that it is there for daytime. As soon as there is some little light in the sky early in the morning, we can understand the sun in the sky. Similarly, since there is some consciousness in the bodies, whether man or animal, we can understand the presence of the soul. So very good example is given how to understand that we are soul and the soul is in the body. So when we see in the morning, the sun is not there, or sometimes the sun is there, but it is covered with the clouds. But because of the light, the presence of the light, we can understand that there is sun. No other person, no living entity in this world can produce such light except the sun. Similarly, when we see that there is life in the body, we should understand there is a presence of soul, and therefore there is a consciousness, and therefore it is called, we should be Krishna conscious, that we should be always conscious that Krishna is present within us. And another reason why we should not kill the bodies of person is because Krishna is residing within every person. So this body is actually the temple where the Supreme Personality of God resides. So if we kill the body, it's as good as we are killing the temple in which the deity resides. And if the temple is killed, how can the deity reside, or how can the soul also even reside? And therefore, killing should be avoided. At the same time, we should understand that the consciousness is the way why we can perceive that the spirit soul. And generally, why we also want to remain alive forever, why we want all the knowledge and we want all the bliss is because it's the consciousness of the soul. Actually, what we are doing is we are putting the quality of the soul on the body. That is, the quality of the soul is Satchid and Anand. And we want this very badly, and therefore we attach this quality to the body, and therefore we want this body to always there. We want this body with the full of knowledge, and we want this body to be blissful. But this will never happen, nor in this life, nor in further lives, because the material body is constitutionally made in such a way that it will deteriorate, it will never remain eternal. How much economic development will do, how much medical facilities we can produce, how much advancement we can make in all the sciences, still this material body is perishable. What can change is the time frame. That's all. Because our time frame is 100 years of life, is different from the time frame of Brahmaji, who also lives for 100 years. So I think we discussed some times back that our 1 year is 1 day of Indra. And in 1 day of Brahma, 14 Indra comes and goes. So by all the sciences we have, we can increase the lifespan to a better degree, but we can never ever become eternal because this body is not made so, and it has to go at certain point of time. And therefore, we should not be unnaturally attached. See, we should do what is needful. That doesn't mean that we'll starve our body, that, oh, I'm not this body, I will not give food, I will not give shelter, go in the rain and stand, you don't need anything. Nothing like that. But at the same time, not unnecessary pampering. Okay, this body is there, I have to preserve it. So let me sleep for 12 hours so that it gets sufficient rest. Let me give all the types of food, even if they're not needed. So this should not be done. At the same time, it should not be overused. It is same like a machine. A machine should be used for the purpose it is meant to be. It should not be underused or overused. If it is overused, then it will they'll have maintenance issues, and if it will underuse, then will not get the full benefit. The consciousness of the soul is, however, different from the consciousness of the Supreme, because the Supreme consciousness is all knowledge, past, present, and future. The consciousness of the individual soul is prone to be forgetful. When he is forgetful of his real nature, he obtains education and enlightenment from the superior lessons of Krishna. But Krishna is not like the forgetful soul. If so, Krishna's teaching of Bhagavad-Gita would be useless. So we are also consciousness and Krishna is also, but we have very little consciousness and Krishna is fully consciousness, and therefore he knows past, present, and future. But we are forgetful, and therefore we do not remember what our previous life are, and therefore we are taking these lessons from Krishna. And Krishna is not subject to all these things. Otherwise, this knowledge we are taking is not of any use. There are two kinds of souls, namely the minute particle soul and the super soul. So Anu Atma and Vibhu Atma. This also comes from the Katha Upanishad in this way. Anor Aniya Mahato Mahiyam Atmasya Jantur Nihito Guhyayam Tam Akruta Pashyati Vitasauka Dhatu Prasadan Mahimanam Atmana. Both the super soul, Paramatma, and the atomic soul, Jivatma, are situated on the same tree of the body, within the same heart of the living being. And only one who has become free from all the material desires as well as lamentation can, by the grace of Supreme, understand the glories of the soul. So we should understand that the super soul, that is Bhagwan, and the Atma, both are situated in the same heart. And when we'll become free of all the material desires as well as lamentations, then we can know that we are the spirit soul, we can know the glories of spirit soul. And this will also happen by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, our job is to chant the glories of Lord, to do devotional service, and it is Lord's duty to uncover all these things for us. So we, on our own strength, will not be able to do all these things. But what we can do is show our endeavor to Krishna that we are ready to do this, we'll do our part, and then Krishna will gradually remove all these coverings on the soul, and then we'll able to see that we are spirit soul. Krishna is the fountain of all of the super soul also. He will be disclosed in the following chapters. And Arjuna is the atomic soul, forgetting his real nature. Therefore, he requires to be enlightened by Krishna or by the bona fide representative, the spiritual master. So we should also know that in every heart there resides a Paramatma. So Krishna is even greater than Paramatma, and from Krishna Paramatma comes. And for devotees, even Krishna himself resides as Paramatma for devotees who are devotees of Krishna. So Krishna is always present with us, is always there in all of our day's work, is always there when we are chanting, when we are hearing, we are reading, when we are doing our material activities. Just that we need to become conscious of the fact that Krishna is always there. If we are just conscious of this one fact that Krishna is always present with us, will make tremendous spiritual advancement. And till the time we do not, we are not in this consciousness, it will take us lot of time to make spiritual advancement. Therefore, we need to be more and more conscious daily by daily, and we should be able to connect each and every activity which we are doing with Krishna. And Bhagavad teaches us very gradually these all things. Like in chapter number 10 and further chapters, everything will this how we can connect with Krishna at every moment will come. Like Krishna says, I am the taste of water. So when we see water, when we drink water, we can think, oh, Krishna, the taste of water. And this way we can connect with Krishna. And like this, whenever we see anything, we can connect with Krishna. That the strength which is coming from Krishna. The fire of digestion is coming from Krishna. The food is supplied by Krishna. This air, this water, this rain, everything is supplied by Krishna. And therefore, we should be conscious at every moment that whatever we are doing, we are using the property of Krishna. We are just subsisting because of Krishna. And in this way, when we become gradually conscious that everything is coming by Krishna, and then only we can gradually evolve in our consciousness and go back to God. And this requires lot of practice and guidance. If we can practice under mature guidance, then gradually we can realize all these things in our own way. And also it requires a lot of patience, because it is not easy that like 2-3 days back in one of my classes, one devotee was asking that my mind is not in control. It is going haywire when I am chanting. I asked her, how much days are you chanting from? She told 2 months. I told her that for getting a certain degree in college, you have to first become a graduation. It requires 15 years. After becoming graduate, you do your post-graduation studies. It requires another 3-4 years if you do engineering or whatever. And nowadays, even diploma, even MBBS are not sufficient. So after MBBS, you need to do MD. It requires another 3-4 years. Now after that also you require super specialization. And after doing all this, it is not guaranteed you will get money. You have to work for getting money. This is only that you have this all degrees so that you get a good job. That's all. And if you are not working that job nicely, you will not get money. So just to get educated, to get a job, you work for 20-25 years of your life. And going back to Godhead, going back to Krishna, you think that it's a 2-3 days job or 2-3 months job or 2-3 years job. And you're asking, oh, that unicorn. And then I asked her, how many rounds are you chanting? She said, half an hour. So after chanting for half an hour for 2-3 months, you want these results. Not possible. Sometimes we need to understand that we are expecting so much from ourselves, which is not practical. We should be very much practical in dealings when we are doing our spiritual activities also. See, Krishna, at this stage of our life, when we are studying, we are learning, he expects that we will do mistakes. He doesn't expect us to be perfect. But what we do is, We expect ourselves to be perfect. Whatever we should do, we become number one, perfect. And the way in today's media it is being glorified, become rich in 2 days, become beautiful in 3 days, reduce your fat and become slim and trim in 1 day. So the way it is being advertised, it's instant way, but nature doesn't work in this way. If you see the way this mango grows, so sometimes 4, 5, 6 months back, there's a flowering stage. And after the flowering stage, the flowers get, and then there are some small fruits come. Then the fruits grow. And that small, it becomes, they're a bit greenish. And after the sufficient heat comes in April, May, there is sufficient, then it becomes yellow, and then you can eat. So it's a gradual process. It doesn't happen in 1 day. And therefore, if we see today's people are frustrated, if we see a lot of college students, they are frustrated, lot of people, they commit suicide, lot of things they happen, and lot of people who lose money. People who lose money are the ones who want to get quick rich. The one who wants to get happy steadily, they don't lose money in a one shot or 1 day or something. They will not go for future options, and they will not do some business activity or some gimmicks or something which will lose money. And therefore, we need to understand and realize the value of being patient, the value of giving time. And therefore, we should understand that we need to have patience in the long run. False enthusiasm will not work. We have seen so many people who are enthusiastic for the first few classes, first few days of spiritual life, and then they are gone. So this is called as false enthusiasm. This is enthusiasm, but it's called a false enthusiasm. And this is a very initial stage of spiritual life. After this false enthusiasm, this calls Ghanatarala, Vyuda Vikalpa, Vishay Sangara, then Niyamakshama, then Tarangarangini, and then Anat Nivriti. These are gradual stages which go. And one need to be patient, that one should understand which stage I am, what are steps I should set for the next step of devotion service. And this way one should grow. And one should have a timeline of 30, 40 years, not 3, 4 years. One should have that time, and then in 30, 40 years, I will go back to God. This is also a very, very, very fast track. Do not think that this 30, 40 years means long time. No, these are just few moments. See, I will just give another analogy to you. If we consider 84 lakh species of life, okay, each species, even if stays for a minute in the life, the end, see, I'm just taking a smallest thing, 84, see, it comes to 84 lakhs time, 84 lakh hours. If it comes for a minute also, 84 lakh minutes or something. So if we consider this amount of time, the human life is 100 years. And how much time is it there? So considering all the species, and it also, if we see the cow lives around 20 years, the tortoise live for around 200 years also. So different species have different lifespan. Some live for 5 years, 7 years. So if you calculate all together, the way we are progressing from one species to another, we have actually lived here for crores and crores of years. And that crores and crores of years we have lived here, this 100 years is some fraction. And the way the time is passing, I cannot tell you. Just, I was thinking yesterday, I was jumping around, I was going to so many places. Now I have different lifestyle. I cannot go to so many places now. I have restrictions. I have restrictions on my food habits. I have restrictions on my lifestyle, the way I live. So just few years back, it was that I was going to so many places. I was traveling to so many places, and literally I was going, but now restriction. So actually the lifespan is very small, and sometimes we'll not know also how we become old. And therefore we should understand this is a very small token which Krishna is asking for us to going back to Godhead. Very small time, very, very small time. And therefore, we should never ever hesitate to give this time to Krishna. Will always be beneficial. At the same time, we should not be fanatical that from today only bhakti, no going to job, no, only bhakti. From today, no work. So somebody tells some work, no, I am doing my japa, I will not do. No, no, not that fanatical also, but at the same time, practical and have patience and then grow. So then we will realize. So let's see verse number 21. Veda vinashinam nityam yaenam ajam avyayam katham sa purusha partha kam kya ghatayati hantikam. Veda knows avinashim, the indestructible, nityam always existing, ya one who, enam this soul, ajam unborn, avyayam immutable, katham how, sa that purusha person, partha o partha, Arjuna come whom, ghatayati causes to hurt, hanti kills, come whom. Translation: O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? So, here, if we see, Krishna says, how can a person who knows the soul is indivisible? So, it's a very advanced stage actually, because he's on the soul platform, he knows, and Arjuna was actually on the soul platform, he was a devotee of Krishna. He's just bewildered here for us so that we can get all the philosophy from Krishna. Otherwise, he knows everything. And therefore, if we see, Arjuna is highly knowledgeable and he knows the value of soul and everything. And therefore, he's posing all this question to this. He is so compassionate that he doesn't want unnecessary killing. And therefore, here, Krishna is saying that one who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and not changeable, that's immutable. Kill anyone or anyone and cause anyone to kill. Purport. Everything has its proper utility, and a man who is situated in complete knowledge knows how and where to apply a thing for its proper utility. Similarly, violence also has its utility, and how to apply violence rests with the person in knowledge. So, in this world, nothing is there which has no utility. Everything has its utility. But one may not know that how it is to be utilized. That is one question. Like in the companies, the major challenge of HR is to know what the person is capable of doing and giving that job to that person. If that thing is done, then the output of every individual will be the best of what it can give, and the output of overall the company will be the best. But problem happens when a wrong person is being given a wrong job. So there is no problem with the ability of the person. He is talented. Every person in this world is talented. There is no person in this world who will not like to work. The problem is matching the talents with the work. If it doesn't happen properly, then there's a problem. Same way, everything has utility. Even violence has its utility. If there is no violence, there will be no peace in this world. Because there is a violence, there is peace. Now you may say, why violence? See, if violence is done by proper persons, then there will be peace. If violence is done by wrong person, if all the weapons are there with wrong person, then there will be chaos. But if the weapons are with the right person, the criminals will not act. Like if the police has the weapons, then the wrongdoers will see that they have weapons, will not do something wrong, and then there will be peace. But the criminals have weapons, and what will happen? Then there will be violence. And therefore, everything has utility, but how to apply violence rests on the person in knowledge. So knowledge is very important for a person. Then only he can apply the things properly and you can use in proper way. If person is not knowledgeable, then even good things will have bad uses. Like food is good, if we eat food, will be nutritious, healthy. But if the knowledge of food is a bad person, what they will do is, with the same food, they will make liquor. They will, the same grains which are used for making us nourish, making us healthy, they will use the same grains and they will produce liquor out of it, which is not good. So this knowledge is the pivotal thing which everybody should have, and this is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. So although the justice of peace awards capital punishment to the person condemned for murder, the justice of peace cannot be blamed because he orders violence to another person according to the codes of justice. So this is a very good example given here. Suppose somebody is in a court, and the person who is in the court, the person who is the criminal, is awarded capital punishment of death. So we will think that is violence committed. How can somebody be given capital punishment? It's a violence committed person. But suppose if that violence is not done and the person is set free, what will happen? He will commit so much violence that unnecessarily so many people will be killed. So if that one person is killed, so many people will be saved. And therefore, this violence is needed. In the Manu Samhita, the law book for mankind is supported that a murderer should be condemned to death, so that in the next life, he will not have to suffer for the great sin he has committed. So even it is good for the person who has done the wrong also, because whatever one does wrong, he has to suffer in the next life. So if one is being given criminal capital punishment for what wrong he has done, the next suffering which he has to do will be mitigated by this thing, and therefore he will be saved. Therefore, the king's punishment of hanging a murderer is actually beneficial. Similarly, when the king orders fighting, it must be concluded that the violence is for supreme justice. And thus, Arjuna should follow the instruction, knowing well that such violence committed in the act of fighting for Krishna is not violence at all, because at any rate, the man, or rather the soul, cannot be killed. So for the administrator of justice, so-called violence is permitted. So here also, if we see, Arjuna will have to kill so many people. And this violence is okay, because it is done under the direction of Krishna. Krishna is telling to do this violence. And therefore, this violence for supreme justice. And therefore, Arjuna should not hesitate. Therefore, the fighting to be executed by Arjuna, a surgical operation is not meant to kill the patient but to cure him. Therefore, the fighting to be executed by Arjuna at the instance of Krishna is with full knowledge. So there is no possibility of sinful reaction. So this word knowledge is very important. See, when animals kill some other animals, they also kill, but they don't have knowledge why they're killing. They will kill just for defense, they will kill for eating him. But when a human will kill some other person, he's in knowledge. And he should have proper knowledge. He should have these things that if he kills another person, he will be punished. And he may bribe today's time and age all the police officers or anything, and he may be scot-free. But he should understand the laws of nature are so strict that he will not be able to bribe the Yamdev. Yamdev will not, Yamaraj will not take your bribes. No way. And therefore, whatever wrong you have done, you will have to suffer, either this way or another way. See, there are so many people who come to me and ask that why do bad things happen to good people? Or why do bad things happen to me? And they say that I have done nothing wrong in this my life. All my life I have done so many donations. All my life I have done good to my family. For my family, I have worked so hard. I have sacrificed my own happiness for my family. But still, there is something wrong happening to me. Why? Then I ask them, what are your food habits? And they tell me that they eat all chicken and everything. Then, what is this? You are killing innocent animals? But they consider this as something very natural. And killing animals is like doing nothing wrong, and therefore we are suffering. This we should understand very thoroughly, that if somebody has done nothing wrong, the nature will never punish that person. And if somebody is being punished, that means something or he has or done wrong. And maybe not in this life, maybe in previous life, we don't know. But something wrong is there, therefore, see, nature's law are very strict. Natures are very, very strict. And therefore, it will work. So a person, a very simple person, a very, very simple person will have a good life than a person who is knowledgeable, very complicated. So knowledge will not help us to counteract the sufferings which we have, but knowledge which help us to understand why we are suffering. And with knowledge, we can act in a way by which further sufferings can be mitigated. So therefore, a simple person who is practicing dharma is far better than a well-educated person who is doing adharma. This we should understand very thoroughly. See, sometimes in this material world, simple person are being condemned. Oh, he doesn't know anything. Such a good, a bad farmer or something like this. And we may sometimes crack jokes and do something, but actually he's doing his dharma. Whereas a person who is well educated, who is doing, who is having so much knowledge on so many subjects, can speak very well, can captivate so many people, may have to suffer because of doing so much adharma. So therefore, this dharma and adharma are very subtle, and not many can understand the ways it works. And therefore, we should know very well that whatever suffering a man goes through the life is because of some of the karmas which he has done in this life or the previous life. And therefore, one should never ever blame God for the suffering which he or she is going on. Sometimes we see that so many people become atheistic, that if God is doing this to me, I do not believe in God. But it doesn't solve the problem. After becoming atheistic, will my problems go away? No. Eventually, we are making a way for ourselves in which we'll never come out of the problems. It's like saying a person is sick and he or she is taking some medicines and the medicines are not effective. So what should he do? He should stop medicines? No, he should change the medicines and use some medicines which are effective. Because the ultimate thing is he or she should get cure of the disease. If one is stopping the medicines altogether and is not getting cured, it doesn't solve the problem. And this way, if suppose we are suffering and we are not getting solution, that means the way we are approaching God is a wrong way. We should approach God in a different way. We should approach the things in a different way. Our outlook of the thing should change in a way that we can solve the problems, not that we will go further deep into the problem and there are no solutions. So a person in the mode of ignorance is also happy. A person in the mode of goodness is also happy, but there is a difference in both the things. So the happiness in the mode of ignorance is not the same as the happiness in the mode of goodness. I will give you one example. Suppose there is some drunkard who drinks a lot and he falls into a gutter or some filthy place. So he'll be laughing, and we'll think he's happy. But if we see the situation, he'll say, oh, what situation is? So his happiness, what he's thinking is happiness, is not real happiness. But where a person is in goodness, he'll be happy for real things. He will be happy for good food, good seeing, things and so on. And therefore, we should understand and see things through the medium of scriptures. Somebody whom we see are very wealthy, outwardly looking happy, and having all sorts of luxuries, we should understand internally if they are not following dharma, they are not happy. Happiness is only on the screen, it's only on the billboards, it's only on the mobiles. Inside, they are thoroughly unhappy. And that is the whole reason why we see so many divorce cases, so many suicide cases, why people are taking to so many drugs and everything, why the rates of people are going on increasing, because people are frustrated in their life, because they are not practicing the real goal, the real dharma. And they're covering up this frustration by some kinds of enjoyment, drinking and doing so many things which are not needed and which are harmful in the long run to themselves only, but they're taking this in the cause of frustration, but showing to others that they're happy, smiling. So this is very important for us to know that one should be in full knowledge so that there is no possibility of sinful reaction. And then one should do their things. And one should have proper spiritual knowledge, proper knowledge according to the scriptures. Material knowledge will not work. Most of the times, if one is not equipped with spiritual understanding and one cannot see the world through the scriptures. So one, we have this material vision which is through our eyes, but one is the scriptural vision which we should always have. And this will help us to navigate to this material life. So let's see verse number 22. So the example of wealthy and not happy because not following dharma is which mode? Okay, see, wealth can come in most of the ways. See, one can be happy, one can be, see, it can be both. See, one can become healthy, one can become wealthy by proper means also, and one can become wealthy by improper means also. So if one is becoming wealthy by improper means, that means he is in ignorance only. So his happiness is also in ignorance and it will not last long. See, happiness in the mode of goodness means he is working with the consciousness, he's earning money with the consciousness that everybody should be benefited because of services which I am giving. See, happiness in the mode of goodness means I earn and others suffer. Let me earn and others suffer. So suppose somebody is a manufacturer of tobacco. Somebody is manufacturer of liquor. So by selling this, they are becoming rich. It's not that they're not becoming rich. But this richness is not in the mode of goodness because the people who are consuming are suffering. And the person who is making knows this fact. And therefore, they are also putting the label on the packet. If you see, it's injurious, it causes cancer. There are so many labels which are put. But still, because of the greed for money, they are causing harm to the people and unnecessarily creating wealth. And this wealth will be the cause of ruination of the entire family. Maybe now or maybe in future. The wealth which comes by the wrong means will also cause destruction. This we should be very sure of, very, very sure of. See, we see who are the people who are taking to illegal things like drinking, smoking, and everything. They're rich people's sons only, if we see. Poor people doesn't have so much money to do all this, and they don't have knowledge also. And from the rich people, others imitate, that's a different thing. But how the rich people are getting money nowadays? So many people are taking bribes. So many people are doing some of the other kamchori in their work. They are doing some shortcuts in their work and earning. Over showing and underworking, and so many things are being done. And we all know of this. If you go to any department to do any work, you may understand this all things, that how you need to bribe and do so many things. And if you see the children of these people, they will go to wrong means because the money has come by wrong means. And because the money has come by wrong means, it will show its flavor on us. See, if we see Bhagavatam also now, the Kali personality had come and asked, where should I reside? And Parikshit Maharaj has given them permission to reside on all these illegal activities only, like liquor and gambling and all these things. And somebody is earning money by through this means, that means he has to suffer. And whatever earning is being done now also, it's temporary. And if we ask them now, there will be lot of unhappiness in the mind. They'll always be unsatisfied. They'll always be dissatisfied. They'll always be in fear that this relative of mine will take my money. This relative might take my money. I will be killed by this. So they have so much security guard. They cannot sleep at night. If you see, they will take so many pills to sleep. And a poor person on the road, he's sleeping nicely. So who is happy? Tell me, the rich or the poor? The poor doesn't have money, but he's sleeping nicely under the stars. He's not fearing that tomorrow somebody will kill me, somebody will take my money. Nothing. He says that nothing. I don't have nothing. If somebody takes also something me, what he will take? But the rich person is so much anxiety. And for not showing his anxiety to others, they will drink, they will do this, and they'll go marry. Because it's happiness. If we do all these things now, at least in the night time, you will forget that you are miserable. Then again, morning when you wake up, you say, oh, again this misery. Oh, till that time, you forget. Oh, forget. So forgetful of the miseries doesn't mean that the miseries go away. It's just a temporary stopgap solution. It doesn't work long. And therefore, we should be spiritual. Spirituality means we actually solve the problem. It's like somebody's cleaning the house because some guest is coming. So while cleaning the house because the guest is coming, what you do is you put all the dirt under the carpet. So you come up and you put all the dirt. So what you think very clean. But suppose somebody is interviewing, what you do is you just take up the carpet and see all the dirt inside. So like this, what we are doing is all our unhappiness side. No, nothing will be shown. But somebody is intelligent, if he ask two questions not to a person, he will come to understand his very visible life. So I hope you got your answer. Yep. So vasamsi jirnani yatha mihaya navani grenati naro parani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. Vasamsi, garments, jirnani, old and worn out, yatha, just as, vihaya, giving up, navani, new garments, grinati, does accept, nara, a man, aparani, others, tatha, in the same way, sharirani, bodies, vihaya, giving up, jirnani, old and useless, anyani, different, samyati, verily accepts, navani, new sets, dehi, the embodied. Translation: as a person puts on new garments, giving up the old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless one. So what happens is, when the garments are old, torn up, what we do is we simply throw it away. We don't pile it. Oh, these are my clothes I have used for so many years. These are my dharohar. After some time, they'll become extinct. So I will sell them as something which is valuable. So this we don't do. We just throw it and take new ones. And we don't even bother to know or understand these things. We just do it naturally. Similarly, what happens is as soon as the body gets old, the soul throws the body and takes the new one. For the soul, it's very natural. And it does so many times. It has done for so many years and years of time and so many millions of trillions of times. Purport: change of body by the atomic individual soul is accepted fact. Even the modern scientists who do not believe in the existence of the soul, but at the same time cannot explain the source of energy from the heart, have to accept continuous changes of body which appear from the childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth, and again from youth to old age. From old age, the change is transferred to another body. This has already been explained in the previous verse. I think this change in the soul is transferred. The old is the yeah. So if we understand now, this also scientists accept that even after every 7 years, the whole body changes. So if they do not believe in the soul, but none of the scientists can explain where the energy comes from. They say that the energy comes from pumping the heart. But whether the heart gets energy to pump, this is not explained, because the blood circulation, all is explained. But the root cause is not explained by anybody, that how this comes. And therefore, we should understand that it is coming to the soul. Transfer of the atomic individual soul to another body is made possible by the grace of super soul. The super soul fulfills the desire of the atomic soul as one friend fulfills the desire of another. So what happens is, the super soul gives the sanction for everything. So we desire, super soul sanctions, and the material energy carries the things. So actually we are spiritual. We have nothing to do with this material body. So how this soul is trapped in the material body? It happens because of the permission of super soul. Otherwise, this material cannot trap the spiritual things. See, if you understand this thing very thoroughly, these material things cannot enter the spiritual, because both are different things altogether. They are both contradictory. Like if I say, if one is happy, one is 100% happy, then he cannot be sad. If one is sad, one cannot be happy. These both are contradictory. One cannot say he's happily sad. He's happily sad. That means he's sad and he's happy because he's sad. It doesn't make sense actually in the real sense. So this spirit and material are both contradictory, like oil and water. It will not mix. It will float. Oil will float in water, but it will not mix. It's contradictory. But how it gets mixed? There's some process we will do like this, but ultimately it will again get out. Like this, the body, material body and soul will not, the soul cannot come in matter, but it is because the super soul or Krishna has made his arrangement, and therefore this is happening, that the spirit soul comes in the material body. The Vedas and the Mundakana Upanishad as well as the Svetashvara Upanishad compare the soul and super soul to friends, a bird sitting on the same tree. One of the bird's individual atomic soul is eating the fruit of the tree, and another bird, Krishna, is simply watching the friend. Of these two birds, although they are the same in quality, one is captivated by the fruits of material tree, while the other is simply witnessing the activities of his friend. Krishna is the witnessing bird and Arjuna is the eating bird. Although they are friends, one is still the master and other is the servant. So this example given of two birds sitting on the tree. So one bird is seeing the fruits and want to enjoy the fruit and everything, but other is simply watching. So the one who wants to enjoy and is captivated by the fruits is the spirit soul, and the other who is just sitting and watching is the super soul. And in this way, both are there, and Krishna is super soul is watching what the others are doing, what the bird is doing, is enjoying, or doing this and this. But as soon as this spirit soul turns to Krishna, then Krishna will reciprocate. Till that time, Krishna will not say anything. So if you see now, Paramatma is there in our body, in everybody, with every body or every spirit soul. But Paramatma is just an observer. He will not do anything. He is just observer. But Krishna, if he is there, he will do something. He will help us and do so many things. So there are 12 witnesses for all our activities which we are doing. And at the time when the justice is met, they give their sakshi. And therefore, we should not think that whatever we are doing under the carpet. Nobody is seeing us. No, there are witnesses. And therefore, we should be careful. But they are not like the witnesses which we have. They will not count each and every rupee and everything. But overall things they will tell us, and accordingly we are met with the punishment. Forgetfulness of his relationship by the atomic soul is the cause of one changing his position from one tree to another, or from one body to another. The jiva soul is struggling very hard on the tree of the material body, but as soon as he agrees to accept the other bird as supreme master, as Arjuna agreed by the voluntary surrender to Krishna for instruction, the subordinate bird immediately becomes free from all lamentations. So we are suffering because we want to enjoy independently, but as soon as we accept Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead and we accept him as master, we'll become free. Both the Mundaka Upanishad and the Shvetashvara Upanishad confirm this. Samane vrikshe purusha nigamno Nishaya sochati muhyamana justam yada pashyati anyam isham asya mahimanam iti vitashoka. Although the two birds are in the same tree, the eating bird is fully engrossed with anxiety and moroseness as the enjoy of the fruits of the tree. But if in some way or other he turns his face to the friend who is a lord of and he knows his glories, at once the suffering bird becomes free from all anxieties. So one who is fully engrossed with anxiety and moroseness because he wants to enjoy the fruit of the tree, but one cannot anyway enjoy the fruit. So if somehow or other he turns to the other bird, then he'll also become happy, really, and he'll be free from all the anxieties. So Arjuna has now turned his face towards his eternal friend Krishna and is understanding the Bhagavad Gita from him. And thus, hearing from Krishna, he can understand the supreme glories of the Lord and become free from lamentation. So this should be effect by us if we are reading Bhagavad Gita. We should be free from lamentation, moroseness, and we should be happy eternally. If after reading Bhagavad Gita, these things are not being seen in us, that means we have not read or understood Bhagavad Gita thoroughly. Because the same instructions are given by Krishna to Arjuna, and these are the effects which are seen in Arjuna. And therefore, we should also see these effects in us. Arjuna is advised herein by the Lord not to lament for bodily change or his old grandfather and his teacher. He should rather be happy to kill their bodies in the righteous fight, so that they may be cleansed at once of all reactions from various bodily activities. One who lays down his life on a sacrificial altar or on proper battlefield is at once cleansed of bodily reactions and promoted to a higher status of life. So there was no cause for Arjuna's lamentations. So one should understand this, one who lays down of life for proper cause, matlab that should be according to dharma. Then what will happen is one will grow higher in destinies, because the body is anyways going to die. So if this is not disturbed or finished in this life by this war, it will finish by old age by this anyway. But if it's finished by war, what will happen is one will get a good destination, which anyways one will not get by going to the old age also. So I will stop here. It's just 22 words. I think we have discussed a lot of things, and I hope it's beneficial. So if somebody